So, you've probably heard of RSpec. Very popular. It's what I've been using for the past, 2 years. Um, I like it because it has some nice syntax, it's got some mocking, it's got some stubbing. It's pretty popular with the Rails community. A lot of people use it. Um, Anyways, it's pretty hardcore though, pretty big project, pretty heavy weight. Um, I guess that's the price we pay for saying things like, 4 should equal 4. Um, Nevertheless, one of the problems that I run into often with RSpec is that if I have, let's say 100 specs in a file, and I run those specs on the command line, and let's say my first spec fails, well, I have to wait for the other 99 specs to be evaluated before I can act on that first failure. I mean, sure, I see the nice little red dot to let me know that it failed, but what if it was just like a mistype, Wouldn't it be nice if I could just go ahead and clear that up before the other 99 run? Well, that's kind of hard with RSpec, but with Shindo, it's actually really easy and really nice. It's depth first, using some nice tree technology. It's created by Gimus. I had the privilege of running into him at RubyConf 2009, and he had shown me the source for this code, and it fits in one file. Pretty small, pretty lightweight. But I've been using it on some projects lately and have been very impressed. So enough hype. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we can use it. So after you've installed the gem, you'll get a Shindo binary loaded into your path to run the tests. Okay, so let's go ahead and just work with a queue here. If you'll notice, I have a QRB file and a Q test file in my directory. All right. Now over here on my Q test file, I have called tests, plural, on the Shindo class. So basically, there's 2 methods you need to worry about with Shindo. One is tests, plural, and the other is tests, singular. Tests doesn't really care about return values. It's just kind of a wrapper to hold all of your unit tests. So let's go ahead and first let's start by calling load queue. And remember to go ahead and put the RB on the end of your files, as load does not work like require. It needs to have that .rb. The reason why I'm using load is because one of Shindo's features is its ability to reload code when you're in the interactive mode, and we'll see an example of that later. But if I just put in require, it won't refresh any of the changes that I've made to that file when I'm in the middle of a test. So we'll go ahead and use the load method from the kernel class for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and write a test here. So I'm going to use the test singular method, and let's say that it should add an item to the end of the queue. And I'm still kind of using RSpec's nomenclature. It's pretty handy. Okay, so let's go ahead and new up an object here. I always think twice about how to spell queue. Okay, so and then let's enqueue an item, and then say that last equals 1. Okay, so back to our console here. I'm going to use the Shindo executable, and I'm going to pass to it my test file. Oh, nice. Okay. So it starts running the test, and it says undefined method for the object. And then it gives me my prompt here that says, what do you want to do? We'll take a look at all the options here. Ignore and continue, interactive, that loads up an IRB. But what I want to use here is R, the reload and run tests again. So let's switch back over to our implementation here, and let's write some code to get this thing to pass. Alright, so I think this should be enough to get it to green. Notice that shindo is still kind of running, or I should say waiting, for my action. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit R. And wow, okay, cool. So it reloaded my code, and we're green. We've got it going here. So not a big deal when you just have one test. But I think you guys can get the picture, like if we had 500 test cases in this queue file, it could come in quite handy. So one of the cool features about RSpec that I didn't want to lose was the before and after blocks. Those are very handy for cases like these when we're always going to be building, a queue object. And shindo does have support for that. We can just say before do, and then queue equals queue new. Okay, and let's go ahead and make use of that here. Go ahead and run our test again here. Okay, so cool. You can see that right here, my first test passed. We're cool there. And then the second one, it stopped at because, something went wrong. So we'll go ahead and implement this method here. Reload the code, and we're green. Cool. So there's also an after method that you can call and pass to it some code to do some cleaning up. But yeah, so give shindo a try. It's really cool for I've been using it a lot for just my weekend hacking. I haven't started any new Rails projects lately. I'm not quite sure if I would give shindo a try there, but it's wonderful, lightweight, easygoing stuff for just kind of miscellaneous code. Anyways, gem install shindo. The source code, like I said, fits in one file, so it's a good browse. 210 lines of code. Yeah, give it a shot.